Hello, guys. Welcome back. Again, this is Herminio, and it's my pleasure that you are here again in this channel. And if you are new to this channel and if you like this presentation, I would like to invite you to subscribe, like, hit the notification bell, choose all for you to get updated for our next videos. And don't forget to comment and share this video if you like that much. So, shall we continue? Today, this is the very first lecture on the topics of sociology, particularly on classical sociology. Now we have Emile Durkheim, an introduction. So shall we proceed? Now, Durkheim was born on April 15, 1858, and died on November 15, 1917 at a very young age of 59. Why very young? Because in such this great man, 59 is just so young for him. I think he can do so many things, particularly in the field of sociology, if he did not die that young. But even though he died at 59, not a retirable age really, in my perspective, because in the Philippines we will retire at really at 60 or 65, and if he just live a little longer, I think Durkheim can bring something much better in the field of sociology. And I think sociology in France or in the world today may not be as what it is now if Durkheim will live a little longer, if he reaches in his 70s. Now, the subject of study where Durkheim is known is in the studies of anomy, division of labor, mechanical and organic solidarity, methodology, religion. Now, guys, I would like to have each lecture on each of this topic on anomy, division of labor, mechanical and solidarity, organic solidarity, methodology, particularly sociological method. This is what Durkheim wants to emphasize while he was in the university, and also his ideas in the sociology of religion. Now, so during his childhood, Durkheim has a quite different experience with so many of us. He was born in a Jewish family with a rabbi father, and during the death of his father, and after the death of his father, Durkheim, as a very young man, became very disciplined, and that the death of his father is like a turning point for him, that he believed that effort and sorrow is more conducive for spiritual progress than pleasure and joy. So if you try to ask Durkheim what will he prefer, I think he will prefer much on experiencing sorrow and with so much effort than with something pleasurable, because for him it's a spiritual progress once we are engaging with sorrow and a lot of effort. It's quite uh, it's quite a belief, but even how different he is in what he believes, but Durkheim tried on this kind of understanding about life. Now, he is an excellent student and at Lycée Louis Legras. So he was a very good student. In our time, he's an honor roll student. Then he joined at École Normale Supérieure in 1879, where he met Jan Juarez, who later led the French Socialist Party. So he was close to this man. He was close with Jan Juarez, and I think this influenced Durkheim in understanding, particularly in the field of socialism and being part of the party. So let's continue. So later he became secular, and his religious faith in Judaism had vanished, and he turns to become a little secular, and later, as we know, he became agnostic. Now, like his contemporaries, he looked to science, particularly the social science, is the source of knowledge and truth. So educational reforms is his means to avoid the perils of social disconnectedness. Durkheim has so much belief in 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 education. For him, education really brings people to the truth, to progress, to finding the real purpose of one's life. So yeah, that's much of his childhood and education. Now when he became a teacher, by the way, he became a teacher of philosophy at the state secondary schools of Saints and Saint Quentin and Troyes in 1882 to 1887. Now in 1885 to 1886, he took a leave of absence. This is like a turning point of Durkheim's career, particularly in research, when he was impressed by Wilhelm Wundt, the father of psychology. Um, I think this guy influenced him particularly in doing his methods and research methods. Um, that makes his years on 1885 to 1886 a very remarkable and fruitful one. Now, another thing in related to his education in 1887, after he left the being a high school teacher, he was appointed lecturer at the University of Bordeaux and later became a professor and taught social philosophy until 1902, where he moved to Paris, University of Paris, and became a full professor in 1906. And during this time, he founded the journal, the 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 Annal of Sociology, or Leon's Sociologique, and he studied the tribes of Australia, New Guinea, and Eskimos. And with all of this, he studied particularly on topics of totemism and religion, and and for him, uh, sociology has its own facts, and he called this one social facts. This is the basis for Durkheim's analytical methods. Now, for him, facts had no intellectual meaning unless they were grouped into types and laws. This is how Durkheim understood that the facts had no intellectual meaning unless, again, it is grouped in types and laws. So that's why he was able to construct concept on totemism and the sacred when he studied tribes, particularly tribes from Australia and the Eskimos and so on. Now, many of his writings is so influential, although he did not write so much as compared to the rest of of of, of sociologists in our time. But even with these writings during his lifetime, Durkheim was able to influence so much in sociology that he was being assigned to be one of the the founding fathers of sociology in the modern times. Now, he wrote The Division of Labor in Society in 1893. This is one of his first book, and The Rules of Sociological Method in 1895, followed by one of the most famous of Durkheim's book. I think many of researchers, many of academicians, sociologists consider this as the number one book of Durkheim. But personally, as I am in the field of sociology of religion, I like, for me, it's number one, The Elementary Forms of Religious Life in 1912. Now, Durkheim also was able to publish, by the way, he published posthumously after his death. That's almost 20 years more after his death, a pedagogical evolution in France. It's a book related to education and educational understanding in France. It was published later on, 21 years after his death. Now, Durkheim, even though he was religious at the very start because of a rabbi father, a Jewish rabbi father, later in his life he became an agnostic. So Durkheim's sympathetic understanding of religion in all its stages, but yet ultimately he believed that that subordinated religion to the service of society. He believed that religion is just a subordinate in the service of society as a whole. So he concluded that religion's primary function was to maintain the social order, and for him, religion is a tool of the society to be a better to be a better society, to be for us to be progressive. Religion is part of it. Now, Uh, that's why I believe Durkheim's book on the elementary forms of religion is really the basis of many of his understanding about 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 religion and how religion should behave in response to the needs of the society. Now, Durkheim's death, he died on November 1917, a year before the end of the Second World War. This may be triggered by a painful experience after his only son got killed in the Balkan Front in 1916. His only son joined the army in the First World War and unfortunately got killed in 1916. So a year after he died, and then in 1918, a year after he died, he was not able to see the end of the war, and yeah, that's how sadly the man who believed in sorrow and effort died. He really died uh, sorrowful. But I guess there is no regret in the side of Durkheim. He has done so well. Now Durkheim's legacy is that he influenced extended beyond the social science. Through him, sociology became a seminal discipline in France, and not only in France, in our modern times, globally. That broadened and transformed the study of law, economics, Chinese institutions, linguistics, ethnology, art history, and history. So Durkheim studies of sociology and, and, and his writings brings about broadening and transformation in the studies of this area, law, economics, Chinese institutions, linguistics, ethnology, art history, and history. I hope you learned something with this short lecture about Durkheim. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like our video, don't forget to subscribe, click the notification bell, choose all, shared comments, and thank you. Again, this is Herminio. I would like to uh, say have a good day, everyone, and keep coming back because I believe it works. Thank you for watching our videos. Bye-bye.